Hey, yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bros Talk MMA.
Shama.
I'm your host, Utica, undeniably the illest cat around, aka Mr. Make This Pick Real Quick. I'm here with my bro, host extraordinaire.
You know what it is. It's Break Bucks. It's Chaco Jordan. It's Mr. Give me my belt. Have me my crown.
Yes, indeed. We are here to cover the last pay-per-view of 2024. It's UFC 310. It's headlined by a flyweight championship bout between Alexandre Pantoja going up against Kai Asakura, making their UFC debut from the Ryzen organization in Japan. We got 14 fights on this card. We're going to start things off in the heavyweight division. We got Kennedy Nzechukwu going up against Lukasz Brzeski. We got Nzechukwu coming in. They are 7-5 in the UFC. 13-5 overall and 3-2 in their last 5 fights. We got Brzeski coming in. They are 1-4 in the UFC, 9-5 with 1 draw and 1 no contest overall, and 1-4 in their last 5 fights. I'm gonna be going with Nzechukwu in this one by either KO or sub. They're gonna be the overall bigger fighter of the two, long and rangy, striker, should be able to stay at distance and pick apart Brzeski. They're coming in on short notice, kind of. The only problem I see with them is their confidence and their aggression. They're coming off of a win not too long ago against Chris Barnett, which really the fight was over before it even started. And then Nzechukwu just, basically just had to actually be the official winner of that fight. So there wasn't really much he showed in his debut as a heavyweight, but we expect this to be just another prop-up fight for him to actually be able to showcase those skills. We got Brzeski coming in. They are the smaller fighter of the two, a striker primarily as well. They will be the more aggressive and will bring the fight to Nzechukwu. They're going to be powerful and actually able to give him a taste of what that heavyweight power feels like. But really, they're just a prop-up fighter. They were set to face a newcomer to show off their skills, but instead, because that dude pulled out, they're bringing in Nzechukwu to show off his skills. So I got Nzechukwu. Who you got?
I'm going to agree with you there. I'm going to say something that I'm going to almost instantly take back later on in the card. But I can't trust somebody who's 1-4 in the last 5. Right? And I will take that back at the end of the card. But in this particular bout, I think Nzechukwu is definitely going to win.
Fighting is awesome.
Fighter. This is a prop-up fight. I'd be surprised if Brzeski has too many more fights in the UFC, period. Because he's, hasn't done very well. I think he may need to go down to one of the lower levels, you know what I mean? Put a few more fights together and come back.
I feel you. Moving on, we are going into the lightweight division. We have Clay Guida going up against Chase Hooper. We got Guida coming in 18-18 in the UFC, 38-24 overall, and 2-3 in their last 5 fights. We got Hooper coming in. They are 6-3 in the UFC, 14-3 with 1 draw overall, and 4-1 in their last 5 fights. I'm going to be going with Hooper in this one by either submission or decision. They're going to be the younger and bigger of the two fighters. They're a grappler primarily. I mean, they like to get scrappy, but their hands aren't quite there yet. They've beaten Guida in the past in a grappling specific match prior to this bout. But yeah, I would say that their hands are improving, and this will definitely be a different type of challenge coming from Guida, given that they can, use their hands and feet as well. They're not necessarily threatening anywhere, but they are durable, and I feel like if they mix it up, they should be able to withstand any punishment coming their way and ultimately get this to the ground, dominate or win, by finish. Guida's going to be the older fighter by 17 years in this bout. They're going to be the smaller of the two. Super vet of the sport and in UFC in particular. Definitely can strike and wrestle. Has great cardio even at this stage in their career. But he'll probably just want to keep this one on the feet and see if he can, piece up and/or clip Hooper in the process and, hurt him early or just somewhere in the fight and, not get into many grappling exchanges. I see that as his best route to victory, but I'll be going with Hooper in this fight.
I've got to agree with you. You know what I mean? Big shouts out to Clay Guida. He is a veteran in the sport. He always puts on an entertaining fight. He always brings it and leaves everything on the mat. And I think his only route to victory is, you know what I mean, clipping Hooper. You know what I mean, and getting a flash KO somehow like that. But I don't see a lot of other routes to victory for him, unfortunately. So I've got to go with Chase Hooper on this one.
Got a little bit of a tan for this fight. Try not to look as pale.
All right, moving on to the third bout. We have a welterweight matchup between Michael Chiesa going up against Max Griffin. We got Chiesa. They are 12-7 in the UFC, 17-7 overall, and 2-3 in their last 5 fights. We got Griffin coming in. They are 8-8 in the UFC, 20-10 overall, and 3-2 in their last 5 fights. I'll be going with Chiesa in this one by either submission or decision. They're going to be the younger and taller fighter of the two. Definitely going to have the edge in the grappling. Decent enough hands to, help them gain entry for takedowns. Probably should just mix that in as much as they can, leaning more so into the wrestling once they're able to secure something, and then just seek a submission from there. We got Griffin coming in. They're the older fighter by 2 years, slightly longer of the two. Definitely going to have the edge in the striking, and in the power department. But at this stage in their career, they tend to fade as the fight goes on. Never been submitted by anybody, but if anyone was to do it, I say Chiesa definitely has the capability. They're pretty durable. And their best route to victory is just to keep this fight standing, clip Chiesa, or, just piece him up throughout 3 rounds and get the win that way. But I'll be going with Chiesa in this one.
I'm going to agree with the Chiesa pick. I just think he has a few more routes to victory, whereas Max Griffin is primarily a striker, and the way he's going to win is to be standing.
Mhm.
And if it's anything but that, Michael Chiesa definitely has the edge.
Yeah, it's not like a diverse arsenal of striking. It's pretty straightforward type striking.
Very, very basic, but there's a ton of power behind it.
Mhm.
Max Griffin definitely has a lot of power, but I think just Chiesa has a few more routes to victory. That's why I've got to go with him as my pick.
Don't you ever talk about my fucking mom.
Moving on, we have a flyweight bout. We got Cody Durden going up against Joshua Van. We got Durden coming in. They are 6-4 with 1 draw in the UFC, 17-6 with that 1 draw overall, and 3-2 in their last 5 fights. We got Van coming in. They are 4-1 in the UFC, 11-2 overall, and 4-1 in their last 5 fights. I'm gonna be going with Van in this one by decision or KO. They're gonna be the younger and smaller fighter of the two. A striker primarily, should have the edge in the stand up. Not any like real grappling, maybe just like takedown defense primarily. They've been rocked a few times now in these last couple of fights, which is probably my only concern. But they can fade if they allow Durden to stick around, but I feel like if they just, push the pressure early and, just really try and put it on them in them first 2 rounds, they can hopefully tire them down to where they're not much of a threat going into that 3rd round, but they're definitely going to have to avoid any grappling exchanges and just keep this fight at distance. Durden, they're going to be the older fighter by 10 years, slightly bigger of the two. They're going to have the edge in the grappling, and they're going to want to, use that early to zap Van's energy. And also, Van doesn't really have much to offer from the ground. They can strike. I would say that they have at least decent hands, whereas Van doesn't have that great of grappling. They have good cardio, but the problem in this fight is they will be moving down in weight by 10 pounds. So they're gonna have to get this fight to the ground soon, and try and end it early to avoid gassing. Because they're gonna be pretty depleted by the time that fight day comes. So I'm going with Van.
I've got to agree with the Van pick. I just think he has great striking ability, and I think he can get Cody Durden out of there fairly quick. Now, if he lets Cody Durden, hang all over him like a cheap suit, he might be in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as he can keep distance, have a strong fight IQ, and just piece him up on the feet, this should be an easy win for Van.
I want to fight next week.
All right, moving on to a middleweight / catchweight bout. This fight was supposed to happen on the last pay-per-view card at Madison Square Garden, but is now taking place in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. We have Chris Weidman going up against Eryk Anders. This fight's going to take place at 195 pounds. We got Weidman coming in. They are 12-7 in the UFC, 16-7 overall, and 2-3 in their last 5 fights. We got Anders coming in. They are 8-8 with 1 no contest in the UFC, 16-8 with that 1 no contest overall, and 2-3 in their last 5 fights. My pick is going to be with Anders. I originally picked them before. I got them winning this by either KO or decision. They're going to be the younger and slightly smaller of the 2 fighters. A big, powerful, athletic fighter, likes to mostly lean on opponents and just wear on them throughout the fight, land power shots, land some shots in close. They're going to need to definitely close the distance on Weidman, get them up against the cage, and just work them from there. They'll definitely fade as the fight goes on. And I don't know necessarily where their energy will be at, even though, this is far removed from when they withdrew from their last fight with Weidman, but they withdrew due to food poisoning. So that usually takes its toll on, just your mass and everything like that. So it's like, having to work back to get that. Now you're carrying more weight into a fight. So, who knows? Outside of it, just providing them a little bit more power, I hope that doesn't, play an effect on this card too much. But we got Weidman coming in there, the older fighter by 3 years, slightly bigger of the 2. A striker primarily that can grapple, but, haven't really seen him use that much unless forced to. Probably going to want to keep this on the feet. But in my opinion, they're still on a compromised leg. I mean, that leg break, I just don't think you ever really bounce back from that, fully. They're gonna fade as the fight goes on as well, especially carrying that extra weight. But they need to keep this at distance and hopefully just clip or piece up Anders early and try and point fight their way to a victory. But I'm gonna be going with Anders in this one.
We're going to go with Anders as well. They're both going to be stand-up fighters. We're not talking about... I don't think any of this is going to go to the ground with these 2 particular combatants. So Eryk Anders, in my opinion, has the speed, has the power. And as you said, Weidman does have a compromised leg, in my opinion, and it's something that will never not be compromised.
Mm-hmm.
So if Eryk Anders starts throwing a couple leg kicks out there, that are clean, we might see a Chris Weidman that's, not quite as confident in the cage. So Eryk Anders, big power, big speed. He's going to be my pick for this one.
Toughness is like a decision sometimes.
All right, moving on to a welterweight bout. We have Randy Brown going up against Bryan Battle. We got Brown coming in. They are 13-5 in the UFC, 19-5 overall, and 4-1 in their last 5 fights. We got Battle coming in. They are 6-1 with 1 no contest in the UFC. 11-2 with that 1-0 contest overall, and 3-1 with that 1-0 contest in their last 5 fights. I'm going to be going with Battle in this one by decision or KO. They're going to be the younger and slightly smaller of the two fighters. Somewhat well-rounded, but prefers to stand. They're going to use their length to pick their opponent apart. They like to get scrappy, though, and just like to outdog them after a while. They're going to have a great opponent in Brown who is going to be equally, if not more rangy, and loves to use that to their advantage. So they're going to have to make this fight a little dirty, walk Brown down, and, just close that distance. Brown's going to be the older of the two of the fighters, taller and longer. They're a striker, like I said, that's going to want to use their length, counter strike from the distance. They just need to keep Battle away from him. Like I said, keep this from getting dirty or, into like getting in the pocket with them. And I believe that they'll be able to, win that way. But personally, I just think Battle's a dog, and he's going to be the one he's just going to outdog and outlast Brown in this fight, in my opinion.
I agree. I gotta also agree with the Bryan Battle pick. This is going to be a dog fight. We're just going to see which one has a little bit more heart. And I believe that's Bryan Battle. I think he has the higher fight IQ as far as cage control and figuring out distance, as well as keeping his head off the center line. I find that Randy Brown does that sometimes. So my pick's got to be Bryan Battle.
All right, moving on to a fight that I think is oddly placed on the card, but it is what it is, I guess. We got a featherweight bout between Movsar Evloev going up against Aljamain Sterling. We got Evloev coming in 8-0 in the UFC, 18-0 overall. Sterling 16-4 in the UFC, 24-4 overall, and are, I want to say, 4-1 in their last 5 fights. I'm gonna be going with Evloev in this one by either submission or decision. I really, really wanted to go with Sterling in this one, but I just think that at the end of the day, this is gonna be a grappling match, and I just feel like Evloev's gonna have the edge in the grappling. They're gonna be the younger and slightly longer of the two. They got decent hands, but nothing threatening. They're just gonna want, to get this to the ground and control Aljo from top position, which isn't gonna be any easy task. But he needs to avoid any standing exchanges with Aljo because I do believe Aljo will have the edge and stand up. He just has an unorthodox style of striking, nothing like crazy, out of the box. But he definitely, if you're not striking isn't your specialty, then he can definitely provide some looks that you might not be, looking for or used to. But he's gonna want to grapple, get the back. But in this fight, I think he's definitely just gonna want to mix it up a little bit more and use his striking to help gain ideal positions in the grappling to help, ensure a better position when it does go to the ground. Really though, I mean, I just feel like, their confidence can wane if they're not able to get that grappling going soon, or if they're not showing any, progress in the striking. So I just feel like me picking Sterling would be me picking with my heart rather than, making sure that my money's secure. So I got to put my money on Evloev in this one.
I agree with you again. It's going to be a ongoing thing throughout this card. Evloev is you're right. It's where my brain. That's what my brain picks. My heart picks. My heart wants to pick Aljamain Sterling because he's an exciting fighter and he's one of my favorite fighters in all of UFC. But Evloev just has far more routes to victory Aljamain.
He's a natural featherweight.
Yes.
Aljo's, I think, in his third fight as a featherweight right now.
Yeah, I believe you're correct on that.
Yeah.
And so I've got to go with Evloev as well. More routes to victory. Undefeated fighter. You know I love, an undefeated fighter with no blueprint to beat him.
Perfect.
So I've got to go with Evloev.
That was the least fun fight anybody's ever seen.
So, well, moving on to
real quick,
this is only actually his second fight as a featherweight. So, correction on that.
And also, this you were kind of hinting at it earlier. There is no way this fight should be in the middle of the prelims. Why is this not at the very least a featured prelim?
I'm assuming only because Evloev's not the most exciting fighter. Mostly goes to decision, and then Aljamain can sometimes not be the funnest to watch either. But I feel like if anyone's gonna bring the excitement to this fight, it'll be Aljamain. But even so, just him being a former champion, Evloev being literally on the cusp of title implications, and I'm sure this fight meaning a lot within that division, you would just assume it at least be a main card opener, but nah.
Yeah,
I was blown. I'm not blown away, but I was thrown off for sure.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The next two fights are decent fights. I just don't think they're better than that one.
Mm-hmm. I feel that. All right, y'all. Moving on to the welterweight division. We have a fight between Vincente Luque going up against Themba Gorimbo. We got Luque coming in. They are 15-6 in the UFC, 22-10 with one draw overall, and 2-3 in their last 5 fights. We got Gorimbo coming in. They are 4-1 in the UFC, 14-4 overall, and 4-1 in their last 5 fights. I'm gonna be going with Gorimbo in this one by either decision or submission. They're the slightly bigger of the two fighters. Possibly may have the edge in the grappling between the two. Their striking's getting better, and they've actually shown to have some power in the hands. They're gonna want to close the distance and lean on Luque though, and just zap his energy in this one. Try and break him, throughout the fight, especially going into the third round. They're gonna want to get this to the ground and just, look to finish him or just control him and dominate for 3 rounds. We got Luque coming in as the slightly smaller of the two fighters. Probably is gonna have the edge in the striking though. Has grappling, but against Gorimbo, I think it would be best for him to just keep it on the feet, keep it at distance, try and piece him up, and get this to either a decision or if they're able to clip him, maybe, look for the finish then. But at this stage in their career, they're starting to fade as the fight goes on, and their chin is starting to wear as well. I would just say that, their best route to victory is to, find something early and get Gorimbo out of there. Otherwise, I just see this going Gorimbo's way.
I gotta agree with that. Gorimbo, again, Gorimbo's not a fast starter. He's a very calculated fighter. So it's going to be really tough for Luque, I think, to get him out of there quick. I don't think anyone gets Gorimbo out of there quick.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he's gonna fill you out for the first round, and then the second round, he's gonna, figure out his distance, and then he might get something done, late second round or third round. He's never just gonna sit there and jump in the phone booth with a fighter.
Yeah.
Without, filling them out and kind of gauging distance and that sort of thing. So I think Luque, with, the cardio concerns and the chin concerns, that Gorimbo takes this one down.
In my bank account, there's $7.
All right, y'all. Moving up to the light heavyweight division. We got Anthony Smith going up against Dominic Reyes. We got Smith coming in 13-10 in the UFC, 37-20 overall, and 2-3 in their last 5 fights. We got Reyes coming in. They are 7-4 in the UFC, 13-4 overall, and 1-4 in their last 5 fights. I'm gonna be going with Anthony Smith in this one by either decision or submission. They're gonna be the slightly older of the two fighters. Smaller fighter of the two, but the striker with the edge and possible edge in grappling if it goes to the ground. They're gonna want to mix it up with Reyes, in my opinion, to get on his energy, slow him down, and then open him up for some punishment in the striking. The chin isn't quite where it used to be. The confidence seems like it's starting to fade during fights now, depending, on just, I don't know. Like, they just look like if they start to get stalled out, they just don't know what to do and just start to just really not do anything and just let their opponent just kind of just wax them. But anyways, I would just say they just need to avoid exchanges until maybe like the later second or third round, and just find ways to lean on Reyes and just, find shots inside. Reyes, they're going to be the slightly younger and bigger fighter of the two. They're going to be the striker. They're probably going to have the edge in that department. They can grapple, but once again, I just feel like these two are just going to want to stand and exchange on the feet. His chin has proven to be in real bad shape. And just their most recent win doesn't really prove anything to me. Their opponent was good. It was good to see them get a win, but to say now that they're gonna start stringing together some wins, I'm not too sure about that. So in my opinion, they still need to hope that they can catch Smith early, clip him, and like I said, start to impose themselves on him to where he just doesn't want to be there anymore. But other than that, I'm not like super confident in it, but I am going to be going with Anthony Smith in this one.
I've got to disagree with you. We're going with Dominic Reyes. Again, I'm not super confident in it as well. This is a great matchup. And again, this is the fight that I was talking about. This dude is 1-4 in his last 5 fights. Generally, I'd not even be a part of this. But I think he ran into some killers. I think he ran into some really tough competition back to back to back, and you know what I mean. And that's kind of how the cards fell for him. And I just don't trust Anthony Smith. I think you just don't know who's going to show up on fight day. Dominic Reyes, again, his chin has been tapped, 3 out of the last 5 times? So that worries me as well. But I think he does have better hands. It's just is he going to be able to keep up, or not necessarily keep up, but just keep his chin from getting tapped. That's all I'm worried about. Like, just, you know what I mean, have a good defense, and I think you can make some happen. You know what I mean? Like Ryan Spann, great fighter. Who else we got a loss against? Prohaska, great fighter. Jam Bull, however you say that.
Jan
Blachowicz, decent fighter, right? Like, he's not getting knocked out by bums. And then his last fight, or the last of the 5 fights, was John Jones that he took it to a decision. Like, that's pretty impressive in my opinion.
Yeah, he's not losing to, no schmucks, but at the same time, his first win in a long time isn't against this high caliber competition in the light heavyweight division. And also his time in between fights, like his fight was like a year and some change before that win. He had not fought for a while. Anthony Smith has fought probably 2 or 3 times within that span. So.
But he got KO'd quite a few times. So I like the fact that he took that extra time, you know what I mean, to let his brain heal. And I don't believe that Anthony Smith beats any one of those 4 fighters that beat Dominic Reyes. I don't think
he beat Ryan Spann.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Like recently?
I mean, out of those last 5.
Oh, it took him to a decision split, and Ryan Spann knocked him out.
I think he beat Ryan Spann twice, though. I think he beat him before that too.
Oh no. Okay, I mean, I respect it. You know what I mean?
Hey, I wanted to pick Reyes, but I feel like that would have been me picking based on recency bias, and I can't go off of that. So you're gonna have to, get this one done, and depending on how he gets this one done, maybe we can start, bigging him up in his next, bout. But right now, I just think, he finally found somebody who could just get him a nice one in the win column, keep him around the promotion for a little while longer, and, not make it look like he just totally took a slide after, that decision loss to John Jones, which many people think he won. And, that could say something, about, just that was I'm sure that was a huge blow. I'm sure that fool's sitting there thinking that he won that bout, and then they serve him a decision loss, and then I just don't think maybe he's ever been the same since then.
It's
Like
understandable.
Dana White fucking loves John Jones, but in that press conference, he said that fool lost that fight.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I saw that.
So, I mean, I think that Reyes has been dealing with like a mental hurdle, and then losing just does not help that shit.
Yeah.
But he's back in the win column, so maybe that just is all you need is a nice W to clear the clouds and, start anew. But,
Yeah. I mean, I think this is going to be a great fight. I think it's a great matchup. I'm not hyper confident, you know what I mean, one way or another. I just got to go with Reyes.
I feel you. All right, moving on to the featherweight division and the main card, curtain jerker. Pay-per-view.
The what?
Main card, curtain jerker.
Pause again.
Yo. What? Did you just create that?
Nah.
That's the thing.
Nah, that's a phrase. All right. But anyway, we got Nate Landwehr going up against Doo-Ho Choi. We got Landwehr coming in. They are 5-3 in the UFC, 18-5 overall, and 4-1 in their last 5 fights. We got Choi coming in. They are 4-3 with 1 draw in the UFC, 15-4 with that 1 draw overall, and 1-3 with that 1 draw in their last 5 fights. I'm gonna be going with Landwehr in this one by either decision or KO. They're gonna be the older fighter by 3 years. Longer of the two, a striker, with some grappling. They're gonna probably want to just keep this on the feet, mix it up occasionally to just keep Choi guessing. Great cardio, great durability. Probably going to look to outlast Choi and take them into deep water. But sometimes I would say if you're gonna raise a concern, he can get a little bit reckless. The reason why he's durable is because he's known for taking punishment. So, he's gonna look to outlast Choi. And yeah, he outside of getting clipped, I feel like, he'll be able to either point fight and or just kind of break Choi at some point and get the win. You got Choi coming in, the younger fighter, taller of the two, a striker. No real grappling, I would say, on their side. They're gonna want to keep this at distance, mix in power shots. They've been chinned recently in 2 of their last 5 bouts, so they're definitely gonna want to look to stay away from extended exchanges with Landwehr, because I believe that Landwehr will be able to withstand the punishment. But they're gonna just want to look to possibly, clip him early, get him out of there as soon as they can. But I'm gonna be going with Landwehr in this one.
I've got to go with Nate the Train. I don't see him losing unless he gets, like you said, overly reckless. I think he's got better hands. I think he's got the better grappling. Gas tank, I think they're pretty even on. but I just think he's the better fighter of the two. So I think I gotta go Nate the Train line where he's got he's got the experience in the UFC. So that's my pick.
I think I still got a job out
Staying in the featherweight division, we got a bout between Bryce Mitchell going up against Kron Gracie. We got Mitchell coming in. They are 7-2 in the UFC, 16-2 overall, and 3-2 in their last 5 fights. We got Gracie coming in 1-2 in the UFC, 5-2 overall, and 3-2 in their last 5 fights. I'm gonna be going with Mitchell in this one by either decision or submission. They're gonna be the younger and taller fighter, a skilled grappler, non-stop pace, great cardio, okay hands, but mostly just looking to find entry for takedowns, get the fight to the ground immediately. I don't see them being afraid, but more so anxious to showcase their skills against a Gracie. Probably should mix in a little bit of that striking just to keep them guessing because, as it's been shown, Kron Gracie ain't the best. He definitely comes from that lineage and has some ground game, but when it comes to the hands, he's not very threatening at all. He's gonna be the older of the two by 6 years. Slightly shorter, equally skilled, if not better, at the grappling, given who their last name. But like I said, unless the time that they've taken off here recently has been devoted to just getting their hands up and, barring some drastic, change in their offense and improvements to their striking, I just don't see them winning this fight unless they are just supremely better than Mitchell on the ground, in which case Mitchell will want to keep this at distance. But like I said, they're not really known for their hands. So at the end of the day, I just believe that Gracie's just kind of the game's gotten away from them. Not that they've ever really been in the game all that long, but yeah, I'm gonna be going with Mitchell in this one.
I gotta agree with the Mitchell pick as well. I just think he has far more routes to victory. He's got better stand up. I'm not saying he's the best striker, but he's got better stand up. Do I think he's outclassed in the BJJ? Not necessarily. I think you could give the edge to Gracie, of course, but I don't think Bryce Mitchell's definitely out. I don't think he's outclassed. So I think there's just a few more routes to victory there. And I don't know. I mean, this should be a decent fight, I guess. I'm not a big fan of it. Like it's you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like you switch this with the Sterling and Evloev fight.
Boom. I'm in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, Bryce Mitchell, Kron Gracie, like
yeah,
it's like a weird main card fight.
Yeah,
that's definitely like prelim, like not even like what do they call that? The main prelim or
the featured prelim.
Yeah, it's not even a feature prelim. It's a prelim.
Yeah,
like what are we doing here?
Yeah, that's why I think it's like I said, Evloev's kind of like not the most entertaining, and then Sterling hasn't necessarily got the best rapport, and I think that those big things are playing a factor into why these fights are where they're at on the card. Not to say that Mitchell or like Gracie are these company men or anything, but it's just easier when you're not agitating the promotion.
Pigs in the mud, chickens in the coop.
Moving on to a heavyweight bout, the featured main card bout of the evening. We have Cyril Gane going up against Alexander Volkov. We got Gane coming in 9-2 in the UFC, 12-2 overall, and 3-2 in their last 5 fights. We got Volkov coming in there 12-4 in the UFC, 38-10 overall, and 4-1 in their last 5 fights. I'm gonna be going with Gane in this one by either decision or submission. They're gonna be the younger and slightly longer of the two fighters. An athletic striker, working on their weaknesses as of late since that loss to John Jones, where they got cleared fucking in the first round like that, taken to the ground and just submitted up against the cage. It was pretty pathetic, to be totally honest. So hopefully he's been shoring up those weaknesses in the grappling department. But they've already got a win over Volkov earlier in their career when they were just starting out. And I mean, Volkov, he's a vet not only of just like kickboxing, but of the UFC, I would say a little bit at this point. Just danced around him basically, kept the fight at distance. I feel like maybe at this point he could mix in some grappling just to, kind of keep Volkov on his toes, throw him off a little bit. But he's probably just going to be looking to point fight his way to a victory in this one, get him some cage time and, get back into the mix of things. Volkov's going to be the older of the two fighters by 2 years. Definitely the taller of the two. A rangy kickboxer that's always dangerous, but he's just been inconsistent when it comes to like getting over that hump and, putting himself in the title picture. He's going to want to look to smother Gon in this fight, find the finish, and just, try not to fade and or stand in front of Gon too long, let him get his shit off, and then move out of the way. He needs to kind of walk him down and trap him and, start to punish him. But I'm going to be going with Gon in this one.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. I think this is just going to be a stand-up affair all day. And it's just going to be who manages distance the best. And I think Cyril Gane has the ability to manage it better. Also, I think he has a little bit more power than Volkov. So I've got to go with Cyril Gane on this one to take the dub.
For sure. All right, folks. Moving on to the co-main event of the evening, we have a welterweight bout between Shavkat.
What a dumbass!
This originally was the main event. It was going to be a championship bout with Rakhmonov and Bilal Muhammad, but Muhammad had to pull out. So Machado-Garry's coming in slightly on short notice. But anyways, we got Shavkat Rakhmonov going up against Ian Machado-Garry. We got Rakhmonov coming in. They are undefeated in the UFC at 6-0. Undefeated overall, 18-0. Then we got Machado-Garry. They are 8-0 in the UFC. And 15-0 overall. So we got the battle of the unbeatens. Basically, this fight is for number one contendership for the title when Muhammad comes back. We got Machado-Garry. He was going to face Joaquin Buckley in the card after this card. But then when things fell out between Rakhmonov and Muhammad, he jumped in. So now they got Covington going to face Buckley this following weekend after this card. But we got Rakhmonov coming in. They're the older of the two by 3 years. A longer fighter. Dangerous with 100% finish rate. They got grappling, but they're gonna want to strike. Rarely visits the third round. I think they've only done it maybe twice or 3 times in their career. So I'm not sure about what their 5-round capability will be. This is gonna be a 5-round fight, but I do know that they'll be the more aggressive of the two. And hopefully they look for a finish, but are able to manage their energy within that and not end up gassing out, which I feel like is how Garry, gains the advantage in this fight. Gary's going to be the younger and taller fighter of the two, a technical striker with some grappling. But really, when it just comes down to it, he's one of those dudes that just does what he has to do to get the W. If it means not being exciting, then it means not being exciting. But if he does, find weaknesses or is able to expose weaknesses with his opponent, then he starts to, hone in on those. He's not very dangerous, doesn't carry a lot of power, but he's very, precise. He's very sharp. I feel like he probably does have 5-round capability. Definitely a point fighter at his core. But capable of finishing if given the opportunity. Outside of that, though, he would have to hurt Rakhmonov early in that regard to gain that kind of advantage. But I just feel like, when it comes down to it, I got to go with somebody who is a finisher over a point fighter. So I'm going to be going with Rakhmonov in this fight. I feel like he's been dying to get his title shot, get his title opportunity. And if it means just, keeping things warm by beating Machado-Garry, then he's all for it.
Absolutely. And I got to go with Rakhmonov because of the stat you said earlier. 100% finish rate. That seals it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not allowing it to go to judges. You're not allowing your fate to be put into somebody else's hands. You're willing to take your fate into your own hands.
I mean, I will note these guys are former training partners. They have trained before in the past.
That's interesting. That's something I did not know.
Mm-hmm.
I still got to go with Rakhmonov, though.
Yeah.
Finisher. You know what I mean? I'm always going to go with a finisher.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go with the point fighter who's like, oh, well, I think I did enough to get it to the judges, and the judges are going to score me, right? You know what I mean? And not that Ian Machado-Garry hasn't done that, right? He's undefeated. I respect it. But also, he doesn't have the 100% finish rate. He's coming in on short-ish notice, right? Not crazy short notice, but short enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think a full camp means a lot. So I've got to go with Rakhmonov on this one.
He does.
I think it's going to be a good fight. Maybe not a great fight, but I think it'll be a good fight.
For sure. All right, y'all. Moving on to the main event of the evening. We have the flyweight.
Whoa there, bud.
Oh, shit. Man, it's been a minute, not a minute, but damn, 1 week, it's like take 1 week off. I totally forget the whole shit. My bad, folks. Moving on to
the main event of the evening.
We got the flyweight title on the line, y'all. We got Alexandre Pantoja going up against a UFC debutee in Kai Asakura. He's a champion over at the Ryzen Fight promotion. Basically just vacated his title to come over here to vie for the flyweight title. He will be moving down in weight to do that. But we got these two coming in. We got Pantoja. They're going to be 12-3 in the UFC, 28-5 overall, and are currently riding a 6-fight win streak. We got Asakura coming in. They're making their UFC debut. They're 21-4 overall and are 4-1 in their last 5 fights. My pick's going to be with Pantoja in this one by either submission or decision. They're going to be the older fighter by 3 years, slightly smaller of the two, but are going to have way more UFC experience. They're well-rounded, definitely going to have the edge in the grappling department, a dog fighter with good cardio, but definitely, you start to see in that late 3rd round and 4th round, their fatigue start to take over a little bit, and then they're able to kind of just dig deep down and, finish things out going into that 5th round. But really they just need to avoid the power and any extended, standing exchanges with Asakura. They need to get it to the ground as soon as possible and just start wearing on this guy's energy early and, just start to find openings for submissions. Asakura is going to be the younger and slightly bigger of the two. Like I said, he's going to be moving down. I believe he weighed in like at 133 his last fight. So he'll be wanting to weigh in around 125 on this one. Not sure if that's going to be crazy cut for him or not, but he will have that as well as making his UFC debut. He's fought in front of big crowds. He's fought under the bright lights, but everybody knows that, just the UFC is just different. He's going to be a dangerous striker, has power, has some grappling, but is definitely just going to want to be looking to keep this on the feet. I don't know. I just feel like, this is one of those situations similar to a time not too long ago when the UFC, before they let go of Demetrius Johnson, he was just running the fucking flyweight division, like lapping it, 2-3 times over. Came to the point where they're literally doing Ultimate Fighters where they had to bring in champions from other divisions to fight for the chance to fight him. And then he still ended up just, clearing the champion in that fight as well. Eventually, UFC let him go in exchange for Ben Askren, which I guess paid dividends for them in a sense because they were able to grow a star in Jorge Masvidal off of him. But Ben Askren didn't do shit in the UFC. Demetrius Johnson goes on to win championship, wins championships, dominates over there. Now he's retired. This is kind of the same scenario where Pantoja now, he's not only beat these guys, making his way up the ranks, but has started to clear them now as the champion a second time around on most of these guys, where all the top contenders, he's already beaten them twice over. So now it's, they got to bring in a guy, from a completely different organization, trying, get the belt up off of this guy, shake up the division. But he doesn't really have the grappling that Pantoja has. And I don't think, has ever really had to like think about that as a threat in his fights in the, circuits he's ran. So I'm going to go with Pantoja in this one. I think really it's going to be the grappling that's the X factor in this fight. As long as he's able to either outdog or just avoid the power of Asakura, he's definitely going to have the power and speed advantage, but, he can't do that if he's, trying to fight hands and keep himself from getting submitted.
I've got to agree with the Pantoja pick. I don't think I've ever seen this where somebody comes in as their debut fight is a title fight. Yeah. That's insane to me. Because let's just go ahead and be honest, right? The UFC is the pinnacle of the fight combat sports, of MMA. And I feel like bringing anybody in is like bringing them in from like a D2 school into the NFL. Like it's not gonna translate well. I don't think Kai Asakura has great grappling. He's got hands, he's got speed, but I don't think he's gonna fuck with Pantoja, unfortunately. And Pantoja's gonna get this, in my opinion, an easy, unless he takes it as an easy dub, like unless he's thinking that way, it should be an easy dub for him as long as he's taking it serious.
Yeah, which
I think he will be. So I don't know. It's just such a weird thing to just go, hey, this guy who's a champion and rising, you're gonna come in and fight my champion in the UFC, who's been fighting UFC caliber people. Yeah. And you've been fighting rising people.
Japan has yet to produce a UFC champion.
Yeah. That is correct.
It'll be interesting to see if he has what it takes, but man, it's a tall order.
If he does, it will shake the division to its core. It will be one of the most crazy things we've ever seen. But I just don't see it happen. Pantoja is Pantoja, and Pantoja's good as hell. So
all right. Well, that concludes our picks and predictions portion of the show. We got any parlays? Parlay God?
Yeah, I can put something together. Yeah, I got something for you. Let's go. I believe this is gonna be a 5-picker. We're gonna go with Nzechukwu as my first. Then I'm gonna go with Evloev as my second. Gone as my third. Rakhmonov is my fourth, and Pantoja is my fifth.
That's mighty spicy, man. In my opinion. I'm gonna start things off with a base 3. I got Nzechukwu, Hooper, and Chiesa. So basically we're starting first 3 fights right out the gate. Then we're gonna want to spice it up with a spicy Gorimbo, spicy Bryce Mitchell, And then if you want to go extra spicy, then you can throw on a spicy Gon, a spicy Rachmanov, and a spicy Pantoja on top of that.
All right.
So we got an 8-pick parlay overall, but
God damn.
if you just want to start with a base of 3, or if you want to do a mid-level 5, or if you want to go for the gusto and go for the whole 8, then there you go.
There you go.
Real quick, folks, it's not a secret. This week is with that break in between is coming off of the worst card that I've ever had, picking wise on
Me as well.
This show. So let's just get it out the way. UFC Macau, China. I went 3-10. I believe bro went 5-8. But we're gonna bounce back this week. It's gonna be a glorious week. This is the second to last card of the year. I'm gonna direct your attention here to the middle, show you what our all-time picks and percentages are on the year. This card is definitely gonna have, put a dent in, my overall, but nothing too significant. We're gonna bounce back on this card, and then we're gonna end things out strong at the end of the year. So hopefully I'll be at a 60%. I know bro is picking over 60%. So, 2 more cards. We're going to end things out strong. Then we'll have a 4-week break, and then we'll be back at it again. But, yeah, man. I mean, it's been a great year. Definitely want to thank everybody for watching. Really appreciate the numbers are definitely starting to progress. We're looking to get that subscriber count up, but other than that, our view counts are definitely starting to rise, which we definitely appreciate all the new viewers and everybody who's checked us out. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, and share the channel. Make sure that you check out our guy, the UFC Predictions Tracker as well, to keep up with the entire betting sphere here on YouTube. See how we stack up against the best in the game.
So you can see how dope we really are.
Yeah, and also, just, familiarize yourself with some other players out there, get some new perspectives and stuff like that. But, shout outs to that platform. And, yeah, make sure that you follow us on IG and on TikTok at Bros Talk MMA. You can follow my brother at r1.mason, and you can follow me at Utica_SME. And outside of that, you got anything you'd like to share with the people?
No, anything I can think of right now. I'm just trying to get that bounce back.
I feel you. Well, folks, we hope that you had a wonderful Turkey Day. We wish you a happy rest of the holiday season. We'll see you We'll see you one more time after this. And then we head into the holidays, and then we go into the new year, and then we'll see you all in January. But until that time, this has been another episode of Bros Talk MMA. I'm your host, Utica, undeniably the illest cat around, a.k.a. Mr. Make This Pick Real Quick. I'm here with my bro host extraordinaire.
You know what it is. It's Ray Bucks. This Shackle Jordan. It's Mr. Hand me my belt. Give me my crown.
Yes, indeed, folks. We wish y'all nothing but the best this weekend. Happy betting. And until the next time, we out.